Toshiko-chan. You're about to hit the highways of Japan. You have places to be, after all. Now, before you leave, you should make sure you have everything you'll need. It can be a long wait between rest stops, after all, and often you'll find yourself all alone out there. All alone with nothing but your own company and, one of the hundreds of monsters that seem to lurk out there. When you think of monsters lurking on highways, who comes to mind? Chances are good that Turbo Granny is at least one of them. She is, I think most would agree, the most famous speedster you're likely to find out there. But she's definitely not alone, and you can find all sorts of elderly women and even men said to haunt Japan's highways. This week's monster isn't an elderly woman, however. She is, on the contrary, rather young. Fashionable, even. And you'll definitely know who she is upon first sight. Toshiko-chan. They say she's a high school girl who haunts the highways of Japan. But not just any high school girl. She has some rather unique visuals that immediately make her stand out. Her dark skin, bleached blonde hair, and incredibly heavy makeup should immediately bring to mind the ganguro fashion trend of the mid to late 1990s. She's also said to wear incredibly thick boots as she storms up and down highways chasing after cars. As you do. But what is she after? Is she just chasing cars for fun? Or is she perhaps looking for the person who killed her? Well, that's the thing. Nobody really knows. Despite the fact we know her name, Toshiko-chan's motivations remain a mystery. She simply chases cars down highways and then, when she catches up, she kills whoever is driving. That's it. It doesn't matter if you are young or old, man or woman, she doesn't discriminate. If you are driving and she catches you, she'll kill you. An equal opportunity queen. Now, there does seem to be one single exception to this rule, and again, nobody is quite sure why. This exception is less equal opportunity, however, and the only way to escape her clutches is to be a man wearing glasses. That's it. Maybe that's her type, who knows? But if you're a man wearing glasses, she'll let you escape once, and only once. She even warns you that if she sees you again, the next time she won't be so kind. However, it's interesting to note what she says in such cases. Oh, what the hell? Glasses? That sucks. You best watch yourself. Next time, I'll take your head. Seriously, MK5. If you're wondering what MK5 means, and yes, that's precisely how it's said in Japanese as well, this is slang that young women who were into the ganguro fashion trend used to use back in the day. This is an abbreviation that comes from Maji de kireru 5秒前. Basically, I'm about 5 seconds from losing my shit. So, you probably don't want to see her a second time. Take advantage of the fact she apparently likes men with glasses and just never hit the highways again. Mesangawa. A traveling salesman suddenly appears at your door. Annoying, sure, but not the strangest thing in the world. Before getting into it, he presents his name card, as all polite salesmen should. Mesangawa, it says. What a strange surname. You've certainly never met anyone with that name before. Come to think of it, you can't recall ever hearing of that name before. That's weird. Is he a foreigner, maybe? But he doesn't look it. And why does his surname use such a strange combination of characters? Destroy the 3 rivers. That can't be right. Something about the man doesn't seem right either, so you politely, but firmly, send him on his way. You're not interested in what he's selling. And perhaps for the best, as it's likely that this salesman is no longer of this world. According to legends, if you encounter somebody who claims to possess the name Mesangawa, specifically using the characters for destroy, 3, and river, you should probably get the hell out of Dodge real fast. Why? Because this surname doesn't actually exist. So if you come across someone using it, it means they are a ghost, or perhaps something else that isn't human. There have been claims that long ago, a certain text claimed that if you encountered a person by the name of Mesangawa, or perhaps even Mesangawa, then you should treat them with the utmost respect, as it meant they were not of this world. No such evidence of this text actually existing has ever been found, but it sure does make for a cool story, doesn't it? It seems likely the reason this legend came around is because there are no surnames in Japan that contain this first character, the one meaning destroy or ruin. Understandably. And so, should you come across someone with this name, it can only mean one thing. They are not of this world. And nobody wants an angry ghost on their hands, so be firm, but polite. And you should be perfectly fine. Good advice for most situations really, ghostly or not. Kowamote-sama. Now, this creature is an interesting one, as it seems to be one of the rare beings that may actually be here to help and not horribly destroy you in increasingly bizarre and brutal ways. As the story goes, a bunch of third graders were really into scary stories and all the related games that come with that. You know, Kokkuri-san and the like. But at their school, the kid who had the scariest stories was always seen as the coolest and most popular. So, these kids wanted to come up with a story that would knock their classmates' socks off. But just a story wouldn't do. They had to lend it authenticity. Otherwise, nobody would find it scary. So, putting together some stuff they found lying around, they created an evil god that they named Kowamote-sama. Kowamote means a fierce or scary expression. They were just kids. Let's give them a break. They then built it a small shrine out of a plastic box and placed it on the mountain behind their school. After that, they dedicated food and such to this evil god they created every day, and even wrote its name on a piece of old wood that they attached to it. This continued for several weeks, and then one day, the kids visited Kowamote-sama as usual, and then made plans to go fishing at the breakwater the next day. However, all of them woke up with high fevers and were unable to go. Again, perhaps for the best, as that same day, a body was found there. Nobody was quite sure what happened to this person, but whatever it was, it certainly wasn't pleasant. If they had gone to the breakwater that day, perhaps it would have been them instead. Perhaps even more horrifyingly, when they next visited Kowamote-sama, they found their evil god had been destroyed, as though something had torn it apart. Thinking that their creation had died, they buried the remains and built a small grave for their beloved evil god. After all, they had spoken of their desire to visit the breakwater in front of Kowamote-sama, and the next day, all of them fell ill and couldn't go. Perhaps it was actually Kowamote-sama who saved them, and died in their place. Their evil god actually sacrificed itself for them. Now, setting aside the noble sacrifice their evil god made of junk made, this plays into the common belief in Japan that if you treat something as living, then it may indeed gain a soul or spirit. Often these situations end in misfortune, but it would appear Kowamote-sama was most appreciative of the daily offerings, and decided to return the favor just this once. Once again, a reminder to always be polite in your interactions. You never know when they might come back to save you. But what did you guys think of this one? Are there any other legends, creatures, or ghosts you'd like me to explore? Let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to help support this channel so you can see more content like this, please consider hitting that join button down below as well. Every bit of support really helps. Thanks guys, and I'll see you again next time.